Hey, I'm Vamsy and you're watching Player's Narrative, a show where I talk about interesting game mechanics and other gameplay systems. This year seems to be packed with time loop games, and Deathloop is the only one that's from a AAA developer. So if you didn't know, Deathloop is an immersive sim game from developer Arkane Studios, who made games like Dishonored or Dishonored like you Americans spell it, and Prey, which was a spiritual sequel to System Shock. Immersive sims are games that give players high levels of agency with systems that can interact with each other and lets the player tackle the main objective in multiple ways. You can pick your own routes, use tactics like stealth, exploit systems to work for you like hacking a sentry gun, or just going berserk guns blazing like Rambo on steroids, or a regular Monday for Charlie Sheen. These games don't tell you how to do your objective or hold back because you went out of mission area or you got caught. It gives you an objective that you can complete in the way you see fit. This isn't Minecraft, mind you, where you can create or do whatever. I mean, if that was the case, they'd be making bank every game. Anyway, they do things to stop you from getting overwhelmed, like how you can only choose 2 slabs, which are Deathloop's powers like Shift that lets you teleport, or Nexus that connects a couple of enemies who all share the same fate. You also only get to keep the powers that you infuse. So it forces the player to pick a playstyle and then make them stick with it, or change a loadout based on player skill. And some levels have a Rube Goldberg type machines that nullify your powers to strictly focus on stealth and your platforming skills. Immersive sims in general have systems that are consistent, like turrets that will only shoot targets based on who you tell it to. You make noise when you run, and so do enemies. Enemies will drop full clips of ammo if you manage to kill them before they start shooting. Every battery in the level can be charged and recharged, and can also be taken off turrets to disconnect them. Most of the systems create emergent gameplay. You'd recognize those if you've played a Far Cry or the recent Hitman games, or even Metal Gear Solid. Basically, they provide players with less scripted and more on-the-fly, systems-driven mischief, like Tom Cruise making a Mission Impossible movie or on Oprah's couch. So Deathloop brings a new mechanic to Arkane's immersive sim formula that changes the core gameplay loop in a significant way. Bugs, tons of bugs that come back every time. No, I mean the time loop, of course. Now if you think about it, most games have a static sense of time, like guards patrol a particular area, or how characters will wait around until the player engages them, even if they're really wounded and are about to die. Real-time loops in games are where the NPCs or the world itself have their own routines in a loop, giving us a sense of time moving forward, regardless of your actions. Which we've seen before in other games. Unless you haven't, then just pretend you did. So in Outer Wilds, the adventure exploration game, a planet called Brittle Hollow slowly gets absorbed into a black hole as time goes on. And then there's these 2 planets named the Ash and the Ember Twins that have sand that shifts from one planet to the other in real time that exposes areas that you can explore once the loop takes place. Which is about 22 minutes, and after that the sun goes supernova, destroying everything. The loop starts over again. The recent Hitman games have different routines for your targets. That means that you have to observe and learn their loops to find a window of opportunity that you can exploit, or just make the target change courses to your advantage. Which has interesting repercussions, like how you can miss an opportunity to kill the target in the most stealthy way, or sometimes without you even being there. Not without you using the controller, obviously, I'm not that stupid. Deathloop, on the other hand, finds a clever middle ground where the loop is in 4 segments: morning, noon, afternoon and evening, for 4 different locations that are not timed and do have static events, but traveling to a different location or coming back changes time and events or even environments altogether. Take Updown for example. Something causes this workshop to burn down in the afternoon, but in the morning it's still intact. So if you want to explore the workshop in the afternoon or in the evening, you need to figure out a way to stop it from burning down, which is to destroy the power box to stop it from destroying itself, and then come back in the afternoon to find what you're looking for. This adds an extra layer of exploration by having you to think about when you explore a level as opposed to just where. That is a stroke of genius. The level structure reinforces that too, as pretty much after the tutorial, the game opens up the map and the structure to explore to your heart's content, which by the way reminds me a lot of Demon's Souls. as the levels let you gain knowledge about the visionaries, who are the targets, and unfold the mystery behind Blackreef in any order, as the 4 different maps can be explored in 4 different time periods. That's basically 16 maps in a way, quick math lesson for you, that have different enemy patrol patterns and levels that the player needs to master. The loops also give the player a taste of roguelike gameplay, meaning you start over if you get killed and only retain upgrades or weapons you buy, but without the fear of permadeath where you lose all of your progress, as the only thing you need to progress is knowledge. But it also has clockwork routines for the targets and other NPCs across the timeline. One of those is Juliana, who can invade the level you're in and will try and kill you. The game tells you when she invades a level, but doesn't tell you where or what time she'll invade, giving you more stress about whether you need to finish up your task at hand or try and escape the level before getting killed. It's especially more riveting as she can be played by other players to invade your level, which ups the challenge significantly. This encourages the player to master the shooting mechanics and experiment with weapons or powers, and provides a level of freedom in exploration to let the players finish side quests at their own pace or find hidden lore that explains the world building behind the time loop. Speaking of which, Deathloop integrates notes and audio logs into the main quest structure in a clever way. Most of the ones that you do find are relevant to the plot of the game, which not only lets the players find information in an exploratory way, but also gives you a clear picture and understanding of the targets that you kill. So Blackreef has Updam, the Frishted Rock, the Complex and Carl's Bay. Your targets are present in these locations based on the time of the day that you visit them, and you can manipulate things that can lead to changes in their routines, just like Hitman. So one of the visionaries, named Frank Spicer, is an ex-mobster turned wannabe rock star who just wants to party all day, and hence why he's in the loop. He's one of the targets that can be killed without you even being there. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil how you do it. So I explored all the notes and made discoveries throughout the 4 time periods to figure out how I could do it. But then, because there were so many other leads and discoveries that you naturally find non-linearly, I'd forgotten the setup that I made, which leads to his death. So when I was on my way to track down another lead, he died out of nowhere and gave me that aha moment of revelation. I couldn't help but think that I was going to conceive more diabolical plans and execute them in my own way. That way I can bring the targets together so I could kill them all in the order that I wanted, which might be different from everyone else's plan, but the game holds your hand in how you actually do it, which ultimately wasn't as satisfying for me. But nonetheless, the game does give you more of those epiphanies where you learn a sequence of events and then use that information to your advantage. With the safety net of the time loop and the ability to progress time at will, it lets you explore and experiment with different routes and strategies that feel great when you execute them. Especially as the side quests don't hold your hand at all, like the Moxie quest, which is a gauntlet of laser wires and floor panels for you to solve to get some goodies. And it's also built by one of the visionaries, so it nicely ties into the main quest. So when you explore Updam in the morning and you find this, it's closed in the morning, and there's a note that it says it's open to the public in the afternoon. But if you explore a little bit more, there's a machine around the corner under an overpass, which you can hack to get it on easy mode. Now head back in the afternoon, when the Moxie is open now, and do the gauntlet more easily to get the prize. This requires the player to think and piece together the information of when and where you should be to complete the side quest, instead of an objective marker that just guides you magically in every step. I assumed the game would let me piece the puzzle of when and where I should kill the 8 targets in an efficient way. Of course, putting the onus on the player to read every note and listen to every audio log and then piece the puzzle together can be stressful in an already action-packed game that has a time loop. Maybe Arkane was right in putting that kind of stuff to the side content, as most players would expect to finish the game without having to read a single note or pick up a tape. It feels like a missed opportunity to give the players more agency in how they eliminate the 8 targets. It's what the marketing heavily suggested, and it's an immersive sim after all. Making the central goal be one giant puzzle where you learn about the targets by exploring the 4 levels at 4 different time periods to devise your own plan would have suited the game as a whole. I personally was very intrigued as my brain lit up at the idea of me remembering every visionary's routine and their loopholes that can be then exploited to kill all of them efficiently in one loop without the game's help. Don't get me wrong though, Deathloop is a fantastic game that's a blast to play, it just makes a stumble towards the end with its lack of player choice in how you kill the targets. where it feels a bit linear for an immersive sim game. But Arkane is one of the last bastions of immersive sims after all, and more games can definitely take more inspiration from their games. That's just me though, what do you think? Let me know what you think of Deathloop if you've played it, or about any interesting time loop games in the comment section below. Subscribe and click on that bell icon if you want to support my channel, and like the video if you did. Latest players.